The world is witnessing a significant change. The BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, are at the forefront. They represent a growing share of the global economy. Their collective voice is becoming louder on the international stage. They seek a multipolar world order. This ambition extends to the global financial system. For decades, this system has been dominated by the US dollar. The BRICS group questions this long-standing arrangement. They are exploring ways to reduce their reliance on the American currency. This is a complex and challenging endeavor. The rise of BRICS is not just an economic story, it is also a geopolitical one. These nations believe the current global governance structures do not fully reflect their increased stature. The International Monetary Fund and the World Bank were largely shaped by Western powers. BRICS countries are pushing for reforms in these institutions. They are also creating their own, like the New Development Bank. The discussion around de-dollarization is part of this broader push for a more balanced global system. It signals a desire for greater autonomy in their economic and financial affairs. However, the path to reducing dollar dependence is fraught with difficulties. The US dollar's role is deeply entrenched. It is the primary currency for international trade. It is the main reserve currency held by central banks worldwide. Most global debt is denominated in dollars. This widespread use creates enormous network effects. The desire for de-dollarization among BRICS nations stems from several key motivations. A primary driver is the pursuit of greater monetary sovereignty. Relying heavily on the US dollar exposes economies to American monetary policy. Decisions made by the US Federal Reserve can have profound impacts on inflation, interest rates, and capital flows in other countries. This is particularly true for emerging markets. By reducing dependence on the dollar, BRICS countries hope to insulate their economies better. They aim to have more control over their own financial destinies. This is a fundamental aspect of national economic independence. Another significant factor is the vulnerability to US sanctions. The United States has increasingly used its currency's global dominance as a tool of foreign policy. Financial sanctions can cut off countries from the global financial system. This can have devastating economic consequences. Russia's experience following the Ukraine invasion served as a stark reminder for many nations. Even countries not directly targeted worry about potential secondary sanctions. For BRICS members, some of whom have complex relationships with the US, de-dollarization offers a potential shield. It is a way to reduce their exposure to such punitive measures. Furthermore, the push for de-dollarization reflects a belief that the current system is imbalanced. The exorbitant privilege of the US dollar allows America to finance its deficits more easily. Despite the clear motivations, the path to de-dollarization is an incredibly steep climb. The US dollar's dominance in international markets is not accidental. It is built on decades of trust, liquidity, and deep financial markets. The dollar accounts for the vast majority of global foreign exchange reserves. It is the currency of choice for invoicing and settling international trade. Most key commodities like oil and gold are priced in dollars. This deep entrenchment creates a powerful inertia. Any alternative must offer comparable levels of stability, convertibility, and acceptance, which is a monumental task. The sheer size and depth of US financial markets provide unparalleled liquidity for the dollar. Investors in central banks worldwide can easily buy and sell dollar-denominated assets. This makes the dollar a safe haven asset during times of global uncertainty. No other currency, or group of currencies, currently offers this combination of scale and security. The euro comes closest, but it too faces its own set of challenges. For BRICS currencies to individually or collectively challenge this, they would need to develop financial markets of similar depth and openness. This is a long-term structural endeavor. Moreover, the network effects supporting the dollar are immense. One of the most significant internal challenges to BRICS de-dollarization efforts is the sheer diversity of its member economies. The bloc includes manufacturing powerhouses like China, commodity exporters like Brazil and Russia, and service-oriented economies like India. These countries have vastly different economic structures, growth models, and levels of development. Such diversity means their economic interests and priorities do not always align perfectly. What might benefit one member in terms of currency policy could potentially disadvantage another. This makes finding common ground on complex monetary issues exceptionally difficult. Furthermore, the monetary policies among BRICS members vary considerably. China maintains a tightly managed currency, the yuan, with significant capital controls. India, Brazil, and South Africa have more flexible exchange rate regimes and relatively open capital accounts. Russia's situation is currently unique due to sanctions. These differing approaches to currency management and capital flows complicate any move towards greater monetary integration. Section 5. The missing keystone: lack of supranational governance. A fundamental hurdle for any ambitious BRICS monetary project, such as a common currency, is the absence of a unified governing body. Unlike the European Union, which has the European Central Bank and the European Commission, BRICS operates as a looser intergovernmental forum. There is no supranational authority within BRICS that can enforce common rules, manage a shared currency, or coordinate fiscal policies effectively. This lack of deep institutional integration severely limits the scope of what BRICS can achieve collectively in the monetary sphere. The creation of a common currency, for instance, would necessitate a BRICS central bank. This institution would need the authority to set monetary policy for all member states. Section 6. Navigating the storm: U.S. policies and sanction fears. United States policies, particularly the use of economic sanctions, cast a long shadow over BRICS's de-dollarization ambitions. The U.S. dollar's global dominance gives Washington powerful leverage. It can restrict access to the dollar-based financial system for countries, companies, or individuals. This tool has been used with increasing frequency and scope. For BRICS nations, many of whom have at times faced friction in their relations with the U.S., this represents a significant vulnerability. The fear of being targeted by primary or secondary sanctions acts as a powerful incentive to explore alternatives to the dollar. The impact of sanctions can be severe. They can cripple a nation's ability to conduct international trade, access foreign capital, and participate in the global economy. Russia's experience after 2022, when it was largely cut off from Western financial systems, provided a stark illustration. This has undoubtedly accelerated discussions within BRICS about building resilient financial infrastructure that is less susceptible to U.S. influence. Section 7. Recalibrating ambitions: the common currency question. The ambitious idea of a BRICS common currency, once a topic of enthusiastic discussion, appears to be receding into the background. The immense practical and political hurdles involved have led to a more sober assessment. Creating a new multinational currency from scratch is an undertaking of enormous complexity. It would require unprecedented levels of economic convergence, policy coordination, and political trust among member states. As discussed earlier, the BRICS nations currently exhibit significant divergence in these areas, making a common currency a distant, if not unrealistic, prospect for now. The experience of the Eurozone offers valuable lessons. Even with deep political and economic integration, the euro has faced significant challenges, particularly during sovereign debt crises. The Eurozone required decades of institution building and treaty agreements. BRICS lacks this foundational work. Issues such as determining the appropriate exchange rates for joining currencies, establishing a lender of last resort, and creating mechanisms for fiscal discipline would be intensely contentious. Section 8. Forging new paths: alternative systems and digital innovations. With a full-fledged common currency looking unlikely, BRICS nations are actively exploring other avenues to reduce dollar dependence. One key area is the development of alternative payment systems. These systems aim to facilitate cross-border transactions directly between BRICS currencies, bypassing the traditional dollar-centric networks like SWIFT. Russia has developed its System for Transfer of Financial Messages, or SPFS. China has its cross-border interbank payment system, known as CIPS. India is also working on enhancing its own payment infrastructure. The challenge lies in linking these national systems, or creating a common platform for greater interoperability. The promotion of bilateral currency swap agreements is another important tool. These agreements allow two countries to exchange their national currencies directly, up to a certain limit. This can facilitate trade and investment by reducing the need for US dollars as an intermediary currency. Several BRICS members have already established such swap lines with each other and with other non-BRICS countries. Section 9. The long-game incrementalism as the BRICS strategy. In conclusion, the BRICS bloc's reevaluation of de-dollarization reflects a pragmatic shift. The initial, perhaps overly ambitious notions of rapidly displacing the US dollar or launching a common currency are giving way to a more cautious, long-term strategy. The inherent strength of the dollar, coupled with internal challenges within BRICS, such as economic diversity and lack of supranational governance, makes any quick transformation highly unlikely. The formidable influence of US policies and the potential for sanctions further necessitate a gradual and carefully managed approach. The path forward for BRICS appears to be one of incremental steps. This involves patiently building up the use of national currencies in bilateral trade. It means developing and interconnecting alternative payment systems. It includes leveraging financial innovations like blockchain and central bank digital currencies. The new development bank will likely continue to expand its local currency lending. These measures, taken together, can slowly reduce the overwhelming dependence on the US dollar over time, even if they do not eliminate it entirely. This is not a revolution but an evolution.